Welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Sean Anderson from Ponca City Public Schools, and Coach Scott Harmon of the Ponca City Wildcat football team, our guest on this edition of Coach's Corner. And heading to Sand Springs Thursday. It's an early game because of fall break, and we'll talk about that Sand Springs game here in a moment. But first, Coach Bixby, it was a tough game, as expected. But you got to be proud of your athletes. They got in there, they fought hard. And that first half, that halftime score 21-3, that had to surprise a lot of folks with Bixby because they just thought they were going to come out and just run away with it.
Well, I would say Bixby's pretty good, and they've been beating people pretty bad. You know, our style of play where we slow it down lends to closer scores. Did second straight week with no turnovers, so that helped us. Did a real good. Spencer Ball had a real good game punting and kicking, so that kept us in the ball game the first half. You know, they're ranked nationally for a reason. They kind of got on us the second half, and then we eventually kind of pulled our ones out late in the third quarter and let some of our twos kind of finish that up so we could stay healthy because we knew we had a short week coming up.
Yeah. Now, when you get through an entire game with no turnovers, so what do you attribute that to? Does that go back to the practice field? Are you focused in practice on preventing the turnovers?
You bet. We work on ball security. We preach that to our kids in every meeting, every week. We kind of go through the good, bad, and the ugly, and that's one of the things we always address was the amount of turnovers that we had ourselves and the amount that we created defensively. So that's a big key for us, and we focus on it on a weekly basis.
To not get a turnover against a nationally ranked team, that sounds like a pretty big deal to me from your coach's perspective. That's huge, isn't it?
It keeps us in ball games. You know, we preach it. We actually kind of cater to it with our play calling. We were very conservative, trying to milk the clock a little bit and keep their offense on the sidelines because they're so explosive offensively. Now they're really good defensively. Now I don't know if they were quite as good as they were last year, but man, they're pretty salty. So our style of play lends to that where we need no turnovers and our kids are buying into it. So they do a good job of that.
Yeah, the Wildcats are 3-3 on the season, and they're taking the team on the road to Sand Springs. You can hear all of the action on KPNC 100.7 FM with Jordan and Reed on the call, and the video stream with the live broadcast audio at punkcitynow.com. We were unable to bring you that live video feed last week. Bixby just had a rule that you can't have it. They're the only ones that can do the video stream.
Yeah, we'll have to remember that next time when they come visit us.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, there you go. Sand Springs Thursday night. It's fall break. It's an early game. How does that affect your practice schedule, and does that change things for your team?
Well, it really did. You know, Bixby's a physical team. We knew it was going to be a physical ball game. Then you turn right around and you have a short week. So we gave our kids off Sunday. We usually come in and do a little bit of something Sunday, meet for a little bit, but we gave them the day off. And then yesterday was more like a Tuesday practice, and today will be more like a combo Wednesday, Tuesday, long, tough work day. So you got to squeeze your work in. Our kids are accustomed to it because of fall break. Now I'm glad we're in school this year on fall break because I like our kids in school the day we play so they don't sleep in all day long.
Right, no doubt.
So that plays into our hands a little bit, but we'll have a tough game on the road at Sand Springs. This will be crucial to keep us. If we can somehow squeeze this win out, it'll get us to 2-2 in the district, and we'll be in the playoff hunt for the last 3 weeks.
Sand Springs, where are they vulnerable?
Last year they were really physical. They lost 4 or 5 really good seniors. Now they've got a strong arm sophomore quarterback that does a good job. But last year they kind of had a kid that was more of a dual threat. This kid's more of a thrower, so it lets us do some things defensively that we couldn't do last year because he isn't quite the run threat that they had last year in the same spot.
Yeah, not having any turnovers against Bixby. Let's flip it around the other side. Getting those turnovers on the defensive side of the ball, I'm sure that's something you work on in practice as well.
You bet. We did a good job. I think that we had 1 pick the other day, and we made them punt the ball or 3 consecutive series in the second quarter. they had to punt the ball or turn the ball over. Our defense really kind of gave us a short field on our scoring drive where we scored there late in the half. So going into halftime 21-3 against a nationally ranked team is quite a bit different than we're accustomed to last year. Even we made some improvements. It was 28-3 at home. So our style of play and no turnovers really lends us to keeping in those type ball games.
Yeah, Sand Springs, as you get your team ready for that Thursday game, what are the keys for the Wildcats? What are you hoping to see from your athletes?
Well, we got to we're trying to get healthy right now, like anybody else. And going into week 7, we're having some depth issues for 3 or 4 different reasons. So some of our kids are going to really have to step up this week and play both ways. We're kind of short at running back. We're getting a little thin at quarterback. Don't have a whole lot of depth there. May have to bring up a freshman quarterback to be our backup there. And so it's one of those things where you just prepare all week long, and then you hope Friday or Thursday night this week that the kids can go out and execute what we've prepared for.
Yeah, well, if you're going to travel to Sand Springs, get out there and back the Cats. We always encourage that, and Coach, will wish you the best this week. Short week in Sand Springs, and have a great game, and thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
This is Coach Scott Harmon, and that is going to do it for this edition of Coach's Corner. Thank you for watching. Until next time.